They're catfishing. So I don't recommend, well, I think it's a very unique way to sell it. So the first question, does anyone here make money online without social media? How are social media people getting 10 plus retainers at $500 a month? I can't even find one person who thinks hiring a pro is worth it. It says, why do people think MLMs aren't a real job? You make real income and build a community. I don't get it. This is a spicy one, okay? Welcome to the Unstuck Hour, where we talk to real people with real problems and we get unstuck together. Today, we are going onto public Facebook groups and answering questions that business owners have. So, I'm going to go through the ones that have already answered today in public groups. So, we're not going to the private groups, I promise. And if you have a question that you want answered to regarding business and life, drop it down below in the link and maybe we will feature your question on there. So, the first question, does anyone here make money online without social media? What are good alternatives for someone who does, I think they mean not like being on camera and just wants to quietly make money? Well, lucky for you, there are so many ways to make money online without having to be an influencer. That is for sure. The first thing that I actually did was become a brand architect. And what a brand architect is just the person behind the scenes doing the marketing strategy, the advertising strategy, even building up the social media. So, what that would look like, here's an example. We had a friend that was a pro fisherman and he was really good at fishing. He clearly had a following. He was already doing guiding tours and he had nothing built really online. So my husband approached him and was like, hey, we want to build a course for you. And so we built Biggs Bass Academy and then part own it. We own a 50% share. And what we do for him is we film the course, we run the ads, we do the creatives, we handle customer service for him even, and basically anything that revolves technical work, we do. So we build his funnels, the website, all that stuff. And because of that, of course, it's an asset. So a lot of the upfront work came from building it before we sold it. So, that is an aspect to doing like brand architecture or launching a brand or launching a course, whatever you want to call it. But you can take that 50% share because ultimately you're building them a brand and that is irreplaceable. So if you build somebody a brand, they can go get brand deals without you and all of this stuff. And that's why we took a 50% cut. But that is an option. Another option that you can do is social media management for a brand or an influencer. You can edit their videos. You can um, be their social media strategist. If you know content, you just don't want to be the person who's doing the content. Meta ads. So my first company was Social Script Marketing. And in that one, I just ran ads. So I didn't even handle social media. It was just purely managing the ads. And that is another option too. Some people do the creatives and ads, which is what I did, but some, they don't even do the creatives. They just manage the ads because some businesses have so many ads and it's very easy to get into. You can look up on YouTube how to run meta ads. And I have a video too on there. It's really not hard, especially now with AI. The thing that matters is the creative. So that isn't a huge option without having to show your face. So many people are showing these options of like build a personal brand, do UGC, become a content creator. And if you're not that type of person, you don't have to do that. Now, I thought I wasn't that type of person, but then as I was building up other people's brands, I then became the person who would want to build a brand myself, which is what I'm doing right now. Oftentimes, once you see it, you then realize that it can also be for you. You don't have to be the extroverted person. But sometimes it's nice to get your training wheels on and do it for somebody else. Now, what I would do to actually get these clients, because the online space, there's a ton of sharks, there's a lot of people trying to sell people on literally everything, is I would go meet people in person locally. So my first clients were people I met at our local farmers market. I saw their product. I actually liked it. I actually believed in them. And then I was like, hey, by the way, I do digital marketing. And I didn't even make an offer to them, which this is the key. You don't want to sound pushy. I didn't even make an offer to them. All I did was say, like, yeah, this is what I do. And then I let them come to me. And they're like, oh, I'm interested in that. And I said, oh, okay, well, this is what I do. So a lot of local businesses are really, really interested in this stuff too. And you can make a better impression when you're actually meeting them in person. Now, as terms of, again, learning this stuff, they're all skills. So yeah, you have to become skilled. And the best way to become skilled at it is offering the service for free, seeing if you're good at it. And then if you are good at it and you produced a good result for them, that is your new case study. All you have to do is take screenshots of, like, for example, the analytics, if you're doing social media or if you're doing meta ads, the return on the ad spend, and then show that to the next client and then charge them a retainer. They know that you know what you're doing because you showed them a case study, and the person who got it for free got it for free, but you get to use their brand name to show and get more money. So a lot of times, and this is why people kind of get icky with, marketing companies, is that they tend to show case studies without brand names. And some people misuse that and just fake their case studies. And trust me, I know, because when I first started, I joined a group and that's what they taught people to do was, oh, you're white labeling. So you're using the case studies of other people who are the people that are working for you, but it's a white label. So there are a lot of marketing agencies that do that. But the better way is to actually get your own case study and actually have the name of it and put that in the contract that you get to use their name for the case study. Because a lot of brands don't want their name on your case studies. Smaller brands don't care, but bigger brands really don't want people to know who their marketing company is, because if they do, then there's going to be some competition there and they don't want that. So that is a big part of it. A lot of people on here were really showing them like UGC and Amazon, and that, like, UGC is not faceless. So I don't really know why people were asking that. And some people are giving really vague answers. You also have to be really careful when you ask this type of stuff online because people want to sell you their things. So that was question one. Let's go to the next question on here. Okay, so the next question is, how are social media people getting 10 plus retainers at $500 a month? I can't even find one person who thinks hiring a pro is worth it. Well, anonymous person, the reason you can't find a person that is worth it, who thinks it is worth it, is because, one, you're either asking the wrong people who aren't making enough money to understand that time is more valuable than their money, or two, you don't have results to show for it. So what I told the person is, show the results and the transformation. If you got somebody 10,000 followers and it brought them new business, there's a case study. So, I mean, you don't even have to be good. When I was just starting out, it wasn't luck. We did a ton of research and I spent hours researching the best topics for this person for social media. And she got 1.5 million views in like the first 28 days. And she got that. And then I was able to screenshot the analytics and then show other people to be like, hey, I know what I'm talking about. That's all you have to do. And then people care about that. And they don't have to be huge results either. Like, they can just be, hey, this was their growth, which is big in itself. And then she responded back when she says, I have a few case studies like that. I should approach my portfolio like this, case studies versus examples. Exactly. Sometimes it's not that you don't have something good to offer. It's just that you're not offering it in the right way to the right people. And that seems to be her case. And I've been there myself because I also sometimes like did not value the work that I was doing because of the client experiences and everything. And so sometimes, a lot of times when you're doing lower ticket items, the businesses are broken. And so you're trying to do one thing for them, but they're also expecting that to solve all their problems. And it just doesn't work that way. So that's what I would do. So it's usually it's a mindset thing. And also you haven't talked to enough people. So this was another thing that I dealt with and why I started running ads is if you haven't talked to 100 people, then you have no business saying you can't find clients. There was this one coach actually that I was talking to and they were really struggling to get clients. And I said, hey, go on LinkedIn and message 100 people. Did she do it? No. That's why we pay for coaching, because when you get answers for free, you don't do the work. And that's what happened. This next question is in a private group, so I'm not going to show the question, but I'm going to tell you a little story about it. So there was a group that has a lot of business owners in it. And on the back end, somebody was told in my other Facebook group, they said, hey, there's a lot of people who need meta advertisers on this group, like go join it. So a ton of meta advertisers joined it. And so someone on the group asked, hey, I'm looking for a good agency. Tons of responses. So here's the marketing hack that you can do instead. Film a video of you explaining something of your service and actually providing the value and then showing them that so that they want to work with you. So what I did was I said, hey, I used to do meta ads as an agency, but now I teach people instead so that they can do it themselves. And I said, here is my YouTube video for you to launch your own campaign, your own lead campaign. And I had 150 people go watch that video within 24 hours of me making that comment. So a lot of times you just aren't everywhere. You need to put yourself and insert yourself in conversations where people are looking for what you have to offer. So after that though, I got like 5 DMs from people and one of them said, hey, I don't want to learn this. Can we get on a call? I'd rather you do this for me. Now, when we got on that call, and this is what I'm going to recommend. He was a service provider and he wanted to run local ads. If you are a service provider, you want to run local ads because nobody's really doing it. They don't understand it. They're doing a bunch of like outdated but effective tactics that tend to get also oversaturated, like the business cards on people's doors soliciting, like all this stuff. And you can just do something else that's less saturated and get more return. So we were talking about ads, and with him, I kind of talked him into doing them himself because he really is technical. But we talked about him doing a funny ad. So I don't know if you have seen these guys. I'm gonna put a video here, but Puma and these construction workers, they're always doing really funny videos like this. And in those, they are probably having an explosion in their business. It works because it's unexpected. People aren't expecting a service business to be posting these funny videos, and that's why it works. So I recommended to him that we do a song. And so on during our like opening call, I created this song for him that I'm going to play for you right now because I thought it was so funny. I looked him up and he had a post that talked about like, is your tree dangerous? So we came up with this song for his tree company. Dangerous, yes, I'm looking at you. Bet you didn't know your tree was plotting to harm you. Was just waiting for the storm so it can fall on your house and act like it wasn't planning it the whole time. Precision Lawn Services is here to serve the community and take out the bad trees. That's why we check on this bad boy for free. Call 678-975-2932 before they get you. Now, we're going to go into an AI debate because we're all over the place and we have ADHD. But AI is only as good as the prompter. So these are human written lyrics. The thing that I'm seeing a lot of people do, it is a trend right now to like make an AI song for your business, but they're gonna get old because so many are only doing AI. They're generating the lyrics with AI. They're generating the video with AI. What I would recommend is make a human video and pair it with the AI song. That's usually like the best way. And also write the human written lyrics because you can tell. I promise you can tell. And it's a lot more engaging that way. But it is a great way. And so what I had recommended for him, and if there are any local business owners, I would make a funny video because it's a pattern interrupt. People aren't expecting that. And then it also is natively great for the platform. They want, ultimately, ads work well for people who understand the platform. If you understand the platform, meaning the platform wants to keep people on as long as they possibly can, and ads make people usually scroll off the platform. If you make an ad that keeps them on the platform and actually creates joy because the phone is watching your face, and if it can see you smile, then they reward you with lower costs per like the lower CPM, and they will also push it out to more people. So like the CPM just basically means that a cost per impression. So 1,000 people will see it. Some CPMs are high in, like, in a marketing, it might be like a $60 CPM, meaning it's $60 for 1,000 people to see your ad. But in something, maybe less specific, it might only be a $20 CPM. It's also based on your watch time. So if you have a good ad with a good retention line, then they will reward that. And a great way you can test it out is actually doing the ad as like a dark ad on trial reels if you have the option on Instagram. And then if it gets good engagement, it's going to be a good ad. I did this with my book to brand that I tested out. I had a lot of people on TikTok really like that video. And so I went on Meta ads and it got a 20% click through rate. So that's just how it works. It's not about, it is about what you say in it, but you also don't have to know right away. You can test things organically on your social media before you actually put money behind it. All right, now this is just an aside because I just want to talk about it. Spicy cubes. Have you guys seen those videos where people are like having this crazy drama where somebody's like, so just like the craziest thing? Maybe I just have a weird algorithm, but because I do like to watch like the Judge Judy reaction videos on my Facebook reels. But I skip these and they'll be talking about some like really messy drama, and then all of a sudden they'll like pop in that they say like, oh, and we popped some spicy cubes. And I kept hearing that. I was like, what the heck are spicy cubes? I don't even know what those are. And I Googled them, and I guess they're like, help with the bedroom time or whatever. But I started seeing these. I was like, oh, this is a really weird pattern. They're catfishing. So I don't recommend, well, I think it's a very unique way to sell it. So, and it's probably working because they have a lot of them. So what Spicy Cubes is doing, and you can take something away from this, baby, but what Spicy Cubes is doing is they are hiring UGCs in an unconventional way. Instead of having them say, hey, look at my Spicy Cube. These are really good. It has blah, blah, blah ingredients where people are going to scroll past that video. They're going in and leaning into what their audience likes, which is messy drama. They're probably the people who watch like The Bachelorette and The Bachelor. I'm one of those. I used to be. I don't really watch anymore, but I used to be. And so they decide to make up these fake stories that aren't real. And they're not real because when you actually go to their page, you can see that they have just story after story that are like, there's no way all of these are from the same person because they don't line up. But they're hiring people to make up fake stories to promote Spicy Cubes as like a name drop in the video and not actually talk anything about it. So it leaves you curious because you're like, what are Spicy Cubes? And then you go look, which is what I did. So that is a marketing strategy for sure. I think there's so many unique ways people, even Kendall Jenner there was a swimsuit line and they really wanted, I think, Kendall Jenner to wear the swimsuit. And so instead of offering it to her because she gets so many brand deals, they offered it to all of her friends and she got left out intentionally. And because she got left out intentionally, then she wanted the brand deal. And so then they gave her the swimsuit and she wore it. And there you go. A lot of times marketing is just thinking outside of the box and being unconventional. That's the takeaway on this aside. It's like when you have a business, you have to be unconventional. You can't be vanilla. Vanilla people it doesn't, like, you can be vanilla. You'll probably make sales, but you're never going to be like huge if you stay vanilla. You got to be unconventional. It doesn't mean like you have to prank. It doesn't mean you have to like be unethical. It just means you have to be unconventional. So that was an aside. We're going to do one more question though, and then we're going to wrap it up. All right, let's see. This is a spicy one, okay? Just because I don't like MLMs. This is a question that's not really a question, but I'm going to shed some light, okay, into this one. It says, why do people think MLMs aren't a real job? You make real income and build a community. I don't get it. They are not wrong. It is technically a real job. But if you have been in some of these groups, I've said, and I'm going to tell you my story because I have personal experience, okay? So it says, because I haven't met one that consistently makes more than $50,000 a year. Other than the people who got in early, it's a real job for them. So the reason I said this is because there is a law of, I can't exactly remember what it's called. It's like the law of six, where basically six connections, where every human is connected to every human on the planet through six connections. So if like I know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, we all know each other that way. Okay. So this girl says, my director isn't a got in early one. She's doing well, definitely over 50K. I think it really depends on how much work you put in and how much you're willing to market. Keep in mind, she said her director, not her. And this is where they brainwash you. And so then she goes, um, more people get on here. Okay, let me screenshot this so I keep it in the video. More people get on here and say, what are you making? People always tell me what their upline is making. What company? Let's look at the actual income disclosure, blah, blah, blah. People are going at her, right? And so I go to her profile because I'm sneaky like that. And I said, if it's the same Planet one, 0.16% are averaging more than $28,000. So if you're telling me 99.84% of people joining just are not working hard enough, then it tells me what I need to know. I was brainwashed too once in an MLM. So I'm going to screenshot this too so you can see it. But this is that income disclosure for Planet. I don't know them. I have no affiliation with them. But I was in a MLM that got me in because they told me they were not an MLM legally. They were not an MLM because we didn't have to own the product. But what we did have to do was become a certified health coach, which just means nothing. It literally meant nothing. It just meant that you learned their way of coaching people and you pushed the health products. Now, here's how I got in and how they get a lot of people. They go after people who are desperate. So in my case, I was an intern. For my music therapy, I was getting board certified in music therapy. And to get that, I had to work 40 hours unpaid for 9 months. So you tell me where I'm supposed to get money right out of college when I have to do that. I had to move back home and I was desperate for a job that I could do while also doing that internship. And, this is aside, but this is why the certification for music therapy is so ridiculous in some ways because of these ridiculous requirements. Now, my school required that too, because they wouldn't give you your diploma if you didn't complete the internship. And I had somebody who couldn't complete it and they didn't get their diploma, which is insane because they did 4 years and just couldn't complete. What they did is they made it like a 1 credit, and then you got to walk on graduation, but you didn't get your diploma until after the internship. Insane. But anyways, I was vulnerable, okay? And what I learned in there was I am a really hardworking person and I was working my tail off and I was getting clients, but I was breaking even. And what I also was having an issue with is some people would come to me with some serious questions. So like one person was like, hey, I really want to do this, but I'm allergic to soy. And they told me that that's not true and to still sell her on it. And I was like, that's crazy. And then there was somebody else that was saying like, oh, they're breastfeeding and nursing. And they told me to tell them that they can do it and it's safe. And it wasn't. And so I started like kind of not really believing them because they didn't see exceptions to the rule. Like they thought that this product was good for everybody when nothing's good for everybody. And, they also required you to go to these meetings online all the time. And if you didn't post 3 times a day, which became like spam on Facebook for me, I lost a ton of um credibility. And if you didn't post 3 times a day, they tell you you weren't working hard enough. And what was really sad is the person who got me in, they're broke. They don't even make good money from what I've heard, but they act like they are because they're going on these trips, but these trips, they're not like it's a mess. And what's sad is like people, they genuinely believe that they have an opportunity to make money, and then they like toxic positively, like the toxic positivity mindset in the group is that you're just not working hard enough, when the reality is no, it's just not meant for everybody, and not everyone is a good salesperson. Now, if you're good at sales, can you do well in this? Sure. I did talk to someone who's like really involved in the MLMs, and they have a positive outlook saying, like they do free trainings. It's the best way to like learn entrepreneurship, and it's the best way to like teach sales for free. And that's true. You don't have to pay for the trainings. However, ultimately, what it pushes is always kind of like an opportunist moment for people to sell versus just genuinely liking the product. And it's different from affiliate marketing, like, but also, that even gets a little questionable too with some of these affiliates, but that's another story. But ultimately, at the end of the day, whether there's positive aspects or negative aspects, the fact of the matter, which you can just look at the stats, is how many people are making over 50,000, which would be somewhat livable in most places, right? But really dependent on their family size anyways. But if you're going to claim that it's a full-time like opportunity and it can replace their 9 to 5, then a good percentage of people should be able to, with working full-time hours, doing it. And I just haven't seen that to be the case. And it becomes a delusion. And so feel bad. I know it sounds mean because so many people just want to hate on MLM people. Don't hate on the people who joined the MLM. Hate on the people who recruited them, and hate on the people who started these, because they're just hitting very vulnerable people who are needing money and have the integrity to work for it, and then diluting them and losing their integrity in it. So that's my take on the MLMs. So I think we answered some good questions today. If you want to be on the Unstuck Hour, get your question answered, or be interviewed, go hit the link below. I'd love to see you on. I'd love to answer your questions, and let's get unstuck together.